You're listening to Mix Off Air with Duffy Moon, Amber Kaye, Camper Kyle, and Kelsey Laurenz.
Has anyone in here ever been to a baseball game?
I have.
Yes. A live baseball game.
Professional.
A live game?
A live professional baseball game. Yes.
Yeah, I've been to many actually.
Yeah.
Not just professional, but also on the little league level and all that as well. Is that what you're referencing?
We went to a Mariners game like right after I was married. We went to a Mariners game in Seattle, and we sat right behind Ichiro. Like I guess they were really good seats. It was like kind of close down. I got really bored, and so we left early. And this was when we had not been married very long.
Oh.
Now I know we would not have left.
No.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something really cool since you asked. In a previous life, I've spent almost a decade on the radio in San Diego, and the radio station where I worked in San Diego was the host station for the San Diego Padres professional baseball team. And one of the cool things we had for a couple of seasons were actual on-field seats that we would give away. And so what it was is down the first baseline, right down essentially behind, if you will, the first base coach, kind of up against the stands, they had put out a little box, and there were like 5 seats down in that, or 4 seats down in that box, and we would give those seats away as a prize on the radio. But what would happen is a lot of times people would win on the radio, and then they would never come and pick up the prize, and so those seats would sit empty. And so in those instances, my friend Steve and I, dear friend Steve, Lord rest him, and I, we would take those tickets and we would go to the Padres game. I was a much younger man then, didn't have a kid, but would go to the Padres game, and we would sit down in those seats. And so you were literally sitting on the field at the Padres game. We're as close to being on the field as one could be. So it was actually really cool.
Which is the significance of the chair in Duffy's office.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, there's a chair in my office.
Yeah, Steve got that for him for his birthday.
Yeah, I feel bad for kind of sitting on it all the time when I go in there.
I was wondering. I was going to say.
To bring it full circle, and I know this isn't where y'all are going, but there was just one, I'll just share it with you real quick, just one very funny incident. We went down, I'll never forget, it was the San Diego Padres. We're playing the Pittsburgh Pirates. And
I know what you're talking about.
And so what happened was we're sitting down in those seats, and the Pirates are up for bat. And if you know anything about baseball, there's 2 outs, and so the I forget who was up to bat, but he hits a foul ball that essentially is coming right for those seats, right? So now here's the thing: if the first baseman had caught the foul ball, it would have been an out, 3rd out, the inning would have been over, everything would have been great. Well, here's myself and my longtime partner, Steve, sitting in these seats. And as the ball is coming down, instead of moving out of the way, my partner, Steve, who may or may not have had a very large beer in his hand, and a glove on his hand. Now, he was not the most athletic. We both had gloves on our hands. He was not the most athletic. He starts reaching for the ball. And meanwhile, all the people around us are like, no. Let the Padre catch the ball, then the inning is over.
Oh, boy.
He'll still give you the ball. That's usually what they'll do. But no, there's Steve. And so sure enough, the first baseman comes, I forget, was it Wally Joyner or whatever his name was running over at the time to catch the ball. And there's my partner, Steve, with a beer in one hand and a glove in the other, getting in the way of the Padre, who wasn't able to catch the ball. And everybody around us is, boo! It was awesome. It was awesome.
So you were probably on camera for that.
How would you have felt if you were at one of those games and some chicks in the audience just flashed everybody?
Just ripped her top off and went, or whatever they do when
What
that
makes
happens.
you think that Steve and I didn't do that?
No, a chick in the audience.
Yeah, had it done to you. By a female.
Instagram
Well, it depends on your point of reference. If it was at that time when I was a much younger man with no wife and kids, I'd have been like, well, hello, I love this game, America's game. If it's now when I'm a bit older and do have a wife and children, I don't know that would be appropriate in front of the amount of kids that are usually in a baseball stadium.
We bring it up because did you see the girl who did this?
I think there were 2. There were 2
Two
women.
girls.
I sure saw one of them.
Yeah. And so
No, they did this on camera, you mean? Or
at the game on camera. Kyle, the picture you keep showing is not from the game. The one that you keep looking at.
Oh, Kyle has pictures.
That makes more sense.
Wow.
That was pretty bad.
So
That was
that's
pretty graphic.
that's just her Instagram.
So she's an Instagram model.
Yeah, so she was promoting like this raunchy page she has.
Oh, okay.
And so her and this
Raunchy
girl do that, but they're like completely bare under their shirts.
Oh, okay.
And it's promoting. So then she gets a letter from the Major League Baseball banning her from like all games, all stadiums for life.
I would say that just to throw it out there, I don't necessarily approve of that. And it could be because I am married and I'm raising 3 daughters, or I've raised 2 and I'm raising a third one. And I don't think that's appropriate. But I would clarify that by saying if that's the same punishment that they would hand down to a streaker, because you do see, unfortunately, you see streakers all the time.
Yeah.
Usually it's a drunk guy, right?
Yeah.
Who's running around with his, tallywhacker just
that one
flipping
girl
all
in
over.
Hawaii that we called, remember?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly.
Yeah. But she still had a sports bra on.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And so I would say if it's the guy who's, running around with his, stem and berries out, and he gets the same punishment that they handed down to her, then totally fair. If they don't give him the same punishment that they're giving her, then I do think that, maybe that needs addressed.
I don't know. I don't think anybody wants to see the twig and berries running around there.
I would agree.
Nobody.
I would
But
agree.
You don't know that.
I'm pretty confident. But
No, you don't know that.
I'm pretty confident. But this gal...
I'm telling you, you don't
plopping it
know
up.
that.
Yeah.
Plopping it up, that would be more of like and more of a, a positive reaction than the streaker, Just throwing that out there.
Wow, not sexist at all.
I'm just saying.
I would much rather see the streaker than the girl.
If you say so.
You would?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Really? I don't know.
I don't think there's anything attractive about that
think,
part of
yeah.
a man's body. So I
think-
don't know.
Very aggressive.
If it's a guy who's on the equal hotness scale as she is,
Oh, I see.
then I would rather see him than her.
Wow.
Sure, but my theory
No,
is...
if it's some guy, then no.
right. But I bet you most of the time it's that guy who's doing that.
Yeah,
Not
generally
always.
it's
I
not
mean,
David
they have to
Beckham.
run for a
You're
week.
not David.
What is with
running?
you and
What is
David
it with you and David
Beckham?
Beckham?
Well, I was thinking sports. It's a sports
Yeah.
field. David Beckham.
An attractive man.
I'm just saying, sure,
So do we know, is it the same punishment? Is that the punishment?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no
I don't
idea.
know. But it just made me mad because she did that. Like, she's at a game where there's children and stuff.
But that does happen. I'm not at all saying it's right, because at this stage of my life, I don't think it is right. I mean, you have to take into consideration there's kids all around and all that, but especially because of the reason she did it. If the reason she did it was to promote some porn site or something, then, that's not like the people that are out there, ultra feminism, free the nipple, and, that's different. I don't necessarily agree with that either. But that being said, that's different. That's different than somebody who's proponent for breastfeeding in public or whatever. Those are completely different scenarios.
Yeah,
and
I
so
agree.
based on that, I don't think that that's appropriate necessarily. But I also don't think it's a standalone thing. I mean, you do tend to see this a lot of times. It's at concerts and things like that where
Well, that's
people
what
will
I'm
do
saying.
that.
Like my son loves Imagine Dragons, and they were in the state, but I didn't take him because it's a concert setting. I
Right.
don't know what he's going to see. Major League Baseball game, I'm not going to expect
Right.
to see anything inappropriate that my children shouldn't see.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And Kyle is so grossing me out right now.
Yeah, you're doing a Bob thing, and you're looking at whatever that picture is you downloaded to your phone.
My phone's in my pocket.
Yeah.
The phone's in the pocket.
Oh, is it that what's in your pocket? Oh my God! Whatever you say, pal.
No, I'm just. it's one of those where there's words in my mouth, and I'm waiting to spew them out.
Okay,
That's what
say
the Bob
them.
is. Oh, I think this is. All part of the
Kelsey?
sports event.
Kelsey, I unleash you.
I know.
Unleash the
I'm just
Kraken!
waiting for Kyle to talk. I'm like,
No,
here we
I mean,
go.
really, that's part of the sports. I remember I went to a live football
That's
game.
part of the sports game
Yeah.
coming from the athlete.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
what?
listen.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
I will jump in here, Kyle. To your defense, not this, but I will tell you this. When I was a kiddo, and I remember this fairly vividly as well. My father had season tickets to go see the Philadelphia Eagles, all the home games.
Yeah.
All right. Now these are Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they've made movies about Eagles fans. I mean, they're nuts, right? I mean, these are the people that literally booed Santa Claus off the field at one point. It's a very well-known story. So that being said, he would take, usually what would happen is he ran a business at that time, and he would take clients or whatever the case would be to the games. But if he had a game where he didn't have someone, he would take one of us 5 kids.
Yeah.
And so, once a season or whatever, you would get your turn to go. Now, I will tell you, that absolutely, to come to Kyle's defense just a little bit, sitting in the stands for a Philadelphia Eagles game, specifically if they were playing the Giants or the Cowboys or one of those teams, it could get gnarly. I mean, people saying things that would make a trucker blush, right? I mean,
that I expect.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it could be gnarly. Now, never at one of those games do I recall, a woman lifting up her shirt necessarily.
I do.
But I do recall seeing some really unattractive men in 12-degree temperatures with no shirt on whatsoever.
Oh, those brave men.
And so, I mean, literally, they would be out there and
Yeah.
they'd paint their chest green or they, that kind of thing for the Eagles.
Well, and I think that is one thing. Even if a girl had like a sports bra or something on, that's another thing.
Yeah.
But just to be completely, fully topless, that's not okay.
Well, and they may look at it, and the reason the Major League Baseball, MLB, may have handed down the punishment they did is because not only is that, I would tend to agree with you, inappropriate, but B, it was blatantly commercial.
Yeah.
Right, they're also,
exactly.
they are huge about, look, you don't promote anything tied to Major League Baseball unless it's approved by Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and that was their thing, was the promoting was the thing.
Right.
So you think it's okay for a girl to do that at a game, Kyle?
Yeah.
So if your mom did that, you'd be fine with that?
No, it's my mom.
Well, there was that one time.
That's silly, though.
When I played on the homeschool team.
No, that's not a good comparison, though.
Yes, but you don't have. Let me speak. You don't have children, so you can't come from that point.
No.
But so I'm saying, if something is appropriate, then it should be okay for your mother to do. If you don't find it appropriate for your mother to do, then it's inappropriate
I never said it was
in a public
appropriate.
setting.
I never said flashing is appropriate.
said it's okay.
I said it's okay.
Okay, well that's okay.
So is it okay for your mom to do that?
No. No, if I wasn't there, fine, Mom, go do it. I just don't want to be there.
Really?
Well, yeah, I don't care. Mom can do what mom wants to do. I don't understand why that's so weird to say that.
Because I think in New Mexico she can.
She can. She really can.
And New York, yeah.
Go for it.
She can show up topless.
That's fine. I'm going to be in the other room, Mom. Bye. And you do what you got to do. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah, no, it makes me very angry.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes me angry. It just makes me. We do live in a strange time.
We try to get guys to look at us a certain way, and then you get little like that out there, and it just kind of takes a lot of that
I think
away.
that's a solid argument.
Definitely takes us back.
Yeah, I think that's a solid argument.
Kyle's confused. You're 23.
Well, no, I value women more than anything I can think of.
You do.
But at the same time,
I know. In fact, you keep valuing that one in your pocket. And I wish you would stop.
Come on, guy. I'm being genuine here. Come on, you're seeing genuine Kyle here. I value women as beautiful creatures.
Yes, you do.
And oh my gosh, just because I can look at them and go, and also look at them and go, with respectfully, you can separate the two. Men can separate the two.
Just in the time I've known you, there's been at least 8 or 9 women that you've valued.
Only a few. All right, jeez.
And then, you know what? At your age, you should be doing that, Kyle.
Thank
That's
you.
perfectly fine, as long as you're being respectful.
Absolutely.
And safe. That's what you got to do, buddy.
Thanks, Mom.
Speaking of Mom, when she's coming to town, I heard a rumor.
Oh, jeez.
Mix Off Air. Thanks for listening on the radio each and every day. The Mix Crew.